Deep breaths. Recording in progress. My name is Fred Zinn. Islamia did excellent introduction, but you gave me a little bit of a promotion. I am not a professor. I don't have a PhD. I have been working with faculty and teaching technologies since the technology was an overhead projector. So I've been through many technological changes, and I specialize in explaining technologies to people who aren't maybe as familiar with them, maybe not as technologically brave as some of the folks out there who love to spend all day on a computer. So, I just a few years ago I earned my master's in teaching technology. So I'm, someone who's helpful, but definitely don't have the uh, honor of being a professor. But I'm very happy to be here today. Happy to help folks with questions they might have about Canvas. Happy to just run through one of the most basic, this is how it works. So the first question I have for y'all, thank you, Jackie. First question I have for you all is either verbally or in the chat. If you could let me know if there's specific questions that you have about Canvas, what would be the most helpful thing for me to cover before I'm also happy just to take you on a tour of what I know has tripped up other people. So let me know if there's specific things. Mm-hmm.
Actually, for me, I found Canvas it's friendly using, and in terms of the interface and the features, it's way better than Blackboard, for example, for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still struggling to maybe find the benefits from the features and to know the know-how. You understand me how to use this. So I'm now curious to listen from you.
Okay. So from how to use, one question I have for this group is how to use as an instructor. So as someone who builds and uses courses for teaching, or as someone who is taking classes. Is there a preference?
Maybe teacher.
I'm taking
Teacher?
classes.
Teacher,
I'm
yes.
a
Taking.
graduate student.
Okay. So a bit of
Yeah.
both. Yep, I'm seeing a lot of both in the chat. All right, so I will do a little bit of a mix of both. I think, let's see, I'm more familiar with the instructor side. So I will, with your permission, I'll share my screen and give a basic sort of let's get into Canvas. And I'll show you around how a course can be structured from just either the faculty or the student view. And then I'll talk a little bit about the behind the scenes, as an instructor, how it gets structured, if that sounds appropriate. All right, so I will do a share. Where I'm going to start, I'm assuming everybody knows how to get into Canvas, and if you have access to Canvas and you want to follow along, if you have access to a course or as either as a teacher or a student, if you want to click along with me, you are welcome to do that. If you'd rather just sit and watch, that's also okay. So I'm hitting share. Is this the right size for everybody to see this screen? And now I have, whenever I share, there we go. I lose the chat, so good. So
I have a question. I have a
yes,
question, يعني before you kick off.
yeah.
There's a huge gap between the Canvas for instructors and Canvas for students.
Hmm.
And the differences are big between the two interfaces, or they are almost the same.
They are almost the same. If I'm trying to remember Blackboard and Moodle, a lot of LMSs look the same for both groups, essentially. But when you are an instructor, you see invisible things, you see things that are invisible for students. So you'll see um, instructors can hide things from the students. Instructors have access to tools that students can't see. In particular, instructors have access to an edit button at the top of pages, but otherwise everything that's visible to students looks the same. Does that help?
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. So if you have never logged into Canvas, or if you're not familiar with this page, the umass.edu/it/slash Canvas page is typically how people log into Canvas. I usually just give up and type into Google UMass Canvas, and this is one of the links that comes up. And there's two buttons I want to call your attention to on this. One is the one everybody clicks, which is log into Canvas. But before I do that, I want to direct your attention to the need help with Canvas, because I am doing a quick intro today. You may have follow-up questions. You may have other things you want to learn or get reminded of. And if you click on the need help with Canvas, it jumps you down to the page. Further down on the page is something called student resources and instructor resources. So for students, student resources will show you more about, there's an FAQ, there's about information about how to use Canvas, how to turn in assignments, how to do all that kind of work. So that is useful for you as a student. And as an instructor, knowing that these pages exist, you can direct your students to them if the students are need extra help. And then the instructors have access to even more support on this page. There's Canvas training courses, there's course checklists, there's workshops, often on Zoom, there's FAQs, and a bunch of support articles. Also, as instructors, you should know about the IDEAS group on campus, IDEAS, who help plan courses and figure out how to teach with Canvas. There's also the Instructional Media Lab, which you can contact at instruct@umass.edu, and they are there to just ask questions, and they have live Zoom drop-in hours where you can just drop in on Zoom and ask questions. The other place that you can get help that some people end up going to and getting sometimes getting a little confused is this 24. Yes? Is that a question?
No,
Oh.
it's my mistake.
Okay. Sorry. So the other place to know about, especially for you folks who are global, is there's 24/7 Canvas tech support, which instructors, I think they even have some for students, where you can text with a Canvas technician anytime, anywhere. They know quite a bit about how to do things in Canvas. One thing I'm noticing, especially in the last month or so, is that they can help with Canvas, but sometimes the UMass version of Canvas slightly different from the one these folks know about. So occasionally the answer is, I don't know the answer to that. You have to contact your local support, and that would be the IDEAS group. So I wanted to make sure before I dive into Canvas, I've pointed you all at all of these resources on this page to get help as a follow-up to today. Any questions about any of this before I actually open up Canvas? All right.
So
So
far, so good.
so far so good. Oh, good. Thank you. So I'm scrolling back to the top of that page. This is the umass.edu/IT/Canvas. And I'm clicking log into Canvas. Now, Canvas, if you were to click on this, it requires you to have an active NetID, an active UMass account. So if you do click on this and you don't get access to Canvas, it may be because you're not enrolled in a class or you're not set up to teach a class, but pretty much anybody with an active NetID can get into Canvas. You may just see that your dashboard is empty of courses. As a teacher, as a student, when you come into Canvas, it brings you right here to this page called the dashboard. And all of the courses that you are either enrolled in as a student or have access to as an instructor are listed here. You'll see two sections. One is published courses. Those are ones that are available to students, available for people to enter. And then further down are things called unpublished courses. These are often courses that have been converted from Moodle or Blackboard. They might be sandbox courses, they might be development courses. They're not, or they're courses getting ready for the next semester. They are unpublished. Students cannot access these until first day of class or until, as the instructor, if you're feeling brave enough to hit the publish button, you can make it available to students anytime. One key thing to know about the courses here is that, and I don't have any actual courses, so I can't see an example. Where's the example? People who have instructors with live courses and students enrolled in actual courses that are populated by Spire, you will see right about where I'm wiggling my mouse, you will see the semester. So if this sandbox course that I have was a real course being taught live in fall, it would say fall 2024 on that card. So that's one way to tell as an instructor whether you're working in a course that students can get into or one that they can't. You'll all notice if you are enrolled in the International Education Community course, that one doesn't have a semester. That's a special course we created that Annie can enroll people in, and it's a place for you to interact with each other and have resources that stay put in that Canvas course while all the other Canvas courses come and go. Because as a student, when you, like 2 weeks after grades are due, the course will disappear off your dashboard. You won't have access to it. So we're creating this space as a way for international education students to have a consistent place in Canvas where they can ask questions and see resources. Any questions about the dashboard? Is everybody pretty much able to get into Canvas, this group?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Personally, I'm using the app. I haven't really discovered the website yet.
Yeah. And I haven't used the app yet. I should do that. I assume it's different.
It is a little bit different.
Okay.
It doesn't load as well as the website, so I don't actually recommend it.
Oh, okay. So maybe for very specific things if you're on the go.
Exactly.
Okay. The next part of Canvas I want to call attention to, because most folks, when they're teaching or taking classes, they kind of come in here, they look at the dashboard, they see the first course, the course they want to go into, they just go straight there. I'm going to do a very quick rundown, not of all the things on the far left menu, but I wanted to highlight a few of them because they have good features that you should pay attention to. One of them at the top is account, and there's a couple things about account in here. If you want your face, if You want to be able to put your face and information about yourself. You can do that in the profile so that in Canvas, you always have yourself there. There is also this tool further down called Name Coach, where you can tell Canvas how your name should be pronounced. And then every time you appear in a discussion or anywhere in Canvas, there's a little link there for someone who wants to either learn or be reminded how to pronounce your name. So if you come in here, all you need to do is change the picture once, add profile info, put in name coach, and then everywhere else that you appear in Canvas, there'll be that information. The other item I want to highlight under account is notifications. If you click on notifications, it brings up a whole bunch of settings on how do you want to be notified by Canvas when stuff happens in Canvas. So it pretty much tells you what email address it would send things to, and you can tell it whether you want to get emails as soon as someone posts an announcement. That's what this bell means. Course content and file changes, I have set to not send me an email. And then things like due date, grading policies, there's a bunch of others with a little calendar here. And that means just send me a summary once a day. That's all I need, is send me a summary of everything that happened in Canvas. So if you're teaching, this is an important set of settings to pay attention to, because do you want to be notified every time a student submits an assignment immediately when they do it? Or do you just want to get a summary once a day? Or do you not even want to be notified? You're going to come into Canvas on your own schedule. So these settings are a good set of settings to explore, depending on how engaged you want to be. This might be an interesting thing to consider if you're heavily involved in the community course and you want to be able to have active conversations with people in the discussions in community course, so that it's pinging you like Facebook every time somebody adds something. So that's what I recommend looking at the account information for. We've covered the dashboard. Admin is something only I have. The courses is just a list of courses if you're trying to just find a course very quickly. Calendar is a summary of all the events across all your courses. So this is good for students, also good for instructors if you're managing a lot of classes, but especially for students. Every time someone puts in a due date, it appears on this calendar. And so it's not just one course, it's all the courses. And then a student can come in here and filter it so that they only see the details for one course. But it'll let them know if they have 5 papers due same week. The inbox is important. This is where, when you're talking to people back and forth, this is where you can exchange messages within Canvas. You can also use your own emails, but if you're trying to talk to students as an instructor, or you're talking to another student in a class and you're not sure what their email address is, this is the internal messaging system. And then the other ones I'm just going to highlight quickly. The history, the commons are more for later, less of an intro thing. Studio is a built-in make a video. So Canvas has built in the ability to just hit record yourself doing something and submit that as a classwork, or post it as an instructor. And then finally at the bottom is the help, which reiterates the help I was talking about on the other site, where you have your 24/7 Canvas support hotline. It does do for students. So that's for students and faculty. And then further down are all the info you need about the ideas group. And if you're more of a nerd, there's release notes. So when things change in Canvas, they do post it here if you're wondering, why did that show up? So that's things to know about the Canvas-wide tools. Are there any questions about anything I've covered so far before we go into a class?
Excuse me, may I
Mhm.
ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you for giving us this presentation. How can I access the calendar as a list instead of,
Oh, good
Mm,
question. I
thank you.
was just thinking to myself, why is it not looking like a calendar? At the
I
top,
think
we
yes, I was
there's
talking. I will give her the same
yeah.
information. You can use it like weekly or monthly or
Hmm.
day by day.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So it's these buttons across the top. Oh, and I just noticed this plus sign here, create new event. So as a student or as an instructor, it looks like you can just add things to this calendar if it would be helpful to know other, have in there other reminders of other things you need to keep in mind. Good. Excellent question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going back to the dashboard. The dashboard, that button on the side brings you back to the dashboard. This is where you can see published courses and see unpublished courses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going into a template course that just has a few things in it so that I can cover the how you get around a course site. It won't have a lot of real looking content. If anybody has any questions about more specific things or if it looks like it would be helpful, I have some down below here. I have a whole bunch of converted courses that have actually more going on in them, and I can bring those up, but I want to give you a simpler view before I do that. Um, so I'm going into my template course. Whoops, sorry, I'm backing out of this because it's a more complex course. Um, when I noticed when I said backing out, I was able to come up here and just use the back button. So Canvas does work with the back button. If you find yourself somewhere weird, you can just hit the back and get back to where you want to be. You can also hit the dashboard button at any time to back out of a course and start again. So I'm scrolling down to this sandbox. I have too many courses. Does this look familiar to folks?
Yes.
Yes. So you have courses that look like this? Yep. I see a thumbs up. Um, so the folks who manage Canvas for the campus customize it in various ways. So if you've used Canvas at other places, it might be very different. I know Ohio State University has a very different approach to Canvas. So that's going to be one thing about Canvas is that it's customizable both at the institutional level and course by course. So even one faculty member can choose to do something different than another. And that's, for me, one of the big differences about Canvas and Moodle. If anybody was familiar with Moodle classes on campus, Moodle had one way to set up a course. It was one column down the middle with blocks,
Yeah.
week 1, week 2, week 3. Canvas first doesn't have a way to do that. So it doesn't really have an easy way to do blocks down the middle. And it has multiple ways to set up the homepage, set up the way a course is structured. So I'm also finding more and more faculty are adapting Canvas to the way they want to teach. What that creates for students is, how is this one set up? So you have to almost relearn. You might have to relearn aspects of Canvas between different courses. I'm hoping to work with programs like with International Ed, with Jackie and Bjorn and Sangeeta about, wouldn't it be great if we had a template and we had a way to structure courses that, unless someone feels strongly about it, we have the same structure across a program, at least. And then you only have to worry about a different way of courses being set up if you are doing a different courses in a different program. So that's a bit of a caveat about what I'm showing you. This course has a sort of a insert title here. It has a picture. It has information about the instructor that the instructors can fill in. And then it has these quick access modules that the IT people put in place. And if a faculty member, typically what faculty have to do is they have to click these and edit them to make them go where they want them to go. Some of them would work for students, and some of them I've noticed take you to continued instructor-oriented stuff. So I don't know if anybody's had experience with finding templatey text in a course they're using as a student. So this is, whoop. I'm getting side comments from Jackie in a direct message with commentary about those. So what you see on the side, here's where the question about what does it look like from a student standpoint and from an instructor standpoint comes into play, because I'm in here as an instructor. You can see the edit button. You can see a bunch of tools down the side, and you can see a bunch of things listed over here. Some of them have slashes through eyes, little symbols that mean students can't see it. So as an instructor, I can view as student. I'm going to pop in there. Yes, I will get to that, Jackie. I'm going to pop in here as a student so that you can see as an instructor, I can look at this the way a student can see Canvas. So in a Canvas course, I come in, I don't see the edits, and I definitely don't see all the things on the side. There's a few things over here that if I'm not using, I should hide from students. Canvas added a bunch of tools this summer like Kami and Lucid, and they didn't hide them by default. So a bunch of courses have these tools in them that people may not be using. You can view course stream. You can view the course calendar as a student. You can view course notifications. So if you're a student trying to figure out when is something due, you can click the calendar. And if the instructor has put dates on things when they're due, it will appear either in this calendar view, it will appear in the agenda view, it'll appear the week view. So as a student, you can quickly see if there's something coming just for this course. And a hidden button right here is calendar feed. I'm going to mention it in case you're someone who's used to subscribing to feeds from things. You can use this to put bring calendar items from Canvas to your phone or your personal calendar so that it would actually be part of how you schedule the rest of your life. So I think that was an important trick I wanted to show you all. I'm backing out to the home page. The other thing to know from a student standpoint, that a lot of faculty, there's a home page with general information on it, and then they organize the rest of the course in something called modules. A lot of people do this because it's similar to Moodle. The only difference being that Moodle used to let you create these blocks and put text in them or pictures in them. So you could say, hey, this week we're talking about this, and have an image. And I want you to do this activity and this activity. The modules view in Canvas is only going to be links to things, links to pages, links to resources. So in the case of this sample course, I can come down here, week 1 overview, click the button, and it'll take me to a page that says, welcome to week 1. This is the learning objectives. These are the readings. This is the video you should watch. Listen, different faculty will structure these pages differently. What I'm recommending to faculty is maybe an in-person course could get away with just having modules like this, but I think online courses, students need more context. They need more about what they're doing that week. So I'm recommending that faculty create a page for each week that tells you what you're doing and where you're going and giving you links to things in addition to the modules view. Are there any other questions about using it as a student? Because I'm planning to leave the student view and dive into how an instructor builds things in Canvas.
May I ask something?
Yes.
In this screen that you're sharing right now,
Mm-hmm.
the 1 week overview, is it actually, did you create it with module? Is it a module or is it a page?
It is a page,
Called week one.
which is called week one, and
Okay.
I created a link to this page from the module. So the metaphor I've been using, and you can tell me if this works, is in Canvas, you can have pages, and I'll show you how to make a page. You can have lots of pages,
Mm-hmm.
and then you bind them together with the modules so that they're grouped into chapters. And what the modules view is like a table of contents.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Okay.
click on a link in the modules table of contents view of the course, and it brings you to whatever page you've clicked on. And then at the
Okay.
bottom of each page, once they're put in order in the modules view, you can hit next and previous to just page through it. So,
Okay. So in,
yep, go ahead.
sorry. So when we create modules,
Mm-hmm.
there is no description attached to the title of the
Oh
module.
my.
We have to create a page in order to put the description. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. In fact, if the people who converted Moodle classes,
Yeah.
if they had a paragraph of text in
Exactly.
that block, it got turned into a page and put right here
I
for the
understand.
rest of the module. So yes, every single module, and I'll go through how to build one. Every
Okay.
module, the first page under it should be the equivalent of that. Like, hi, this is what
Yep.
we're doing this week.
Excellent.
Other questions about student view? Because it seems definite folks are ready to look at instructor view.
And so depending on whether we publish or not
Yes.
yet, the students will not see the list, the item unless we publish it.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's important. Let me, I'm going to leave the student view, go back into the instructor view, and I will jump home for a moment, double checking that I've covered everything from a student view. Yeah. So what I want to show you now is a few things on the homepage, how to edit a page, a few of the important links on the homepage if you're an instructor. And then I'm going to jump into the modules and how to do that, and hopefully do that quickly, but also in a way you can follow along. So if anything is unclear, let me know. With any page you're looking at, so this is a page, it's called the EDUC Temple Sandbox Home, probably. There's an edit button. And if I click the edit button, I get a place to give it a name. So it's called the home page. And then I get this big box here where I can just edit whatever I need to edit. So if you're familiar with editing web pages online in WordPress or any other kind of online editing tool, oops, spell my name right. You can just come in, make a change, swap out the image, do whatever you need to do. There are some settings down below, like who can see this. You can make pages appear and disappear on a schedule. You can make sure only certain students can see a given page. You can set a date for a page to appear. One thing I like is you can set a page that only teachers can edit, but you can also set it a page that students can edit. So if you're an instructor and you want students to add to a list of resources, you can make it so they have access to that edit, which I like the idea of in a lot of things. The most important thing about editing any page, any settings in Canvas is the save button at the bottom. it is really easy to do a lot of work and then hit the back button or go to another page. You will lose all the work. So you have to condition yourself when you're working on something, make the change, scroll to the bottom, hit save, and the change will appear what you're looking at. And Jackie asked about the links, these blocks. So I'm going to do a pop back in about that if you need to link something, these defaults, you can just click on the image and then it has link options, remove link, image options. If I go to link options for this image, it shows me where this link goes. And I thought, so if I wanted to change the link, I have to remove the link first, then come up here to links. I can say it's a link to modules, so I'm going to make it a link to the course. It could also be an external link to a web page somewhere, like a Google Doc even. So I can go to course link, and then I can just tell it that I'm making a link. I want it to be a link to a modules page. Tell it which module I want it to go to. And then there should be, once again, there needs to be a save button. I thought there was a save button, I guess. This thing just lets you choose one and then click save.
So
And now, yep.
So I just, for modules link,
Mm-hmm.
because I want it to link to each week, not go to the top of the whole modules page, because I didn't know about the book and the chapters and whatever.
Yeah.
So I just hit remove link, and what's happened with another one on my thing is if I hit remove link, then it only gives me two options, edit icon or icon options. And if I do that, it's just about the pictures.
Right. I will point out something that I probably did too quickly. So when I go to edit and I scroll down, I go to modules, I'm going to remove the link, pretend it's an image with no link, or I want to change the link.
Okay.
You will see, it only gives me image options because there's no longer a link. I have to click on this thing, and then up here is the icon for adding a link.
Oh, you did do that.
That's how you can make anything into a link, text, image, whatever, and then you tell it what kind of link it is.
Okay, sorry, yeah, you did do that.
Yeah, no worries.
Class will look better by Monday.
Yay. I'm showing you these pictures from a user interface standpoint. I'm not entirely sold on this way of having just 4 really big things on a homepage. I might do it differently, but everybody gets this as the template and students are familiar with these buttons, so I don't want to necessarily tell people not to use them. So other important things to let you know how to do. I want to give some time for questions. So that is how you would edit a page. That is how you edit the text on a page. It's how you would change a link on a page. The inserting of images is reasonably simple when you're in the editor view. You can click somewhere and say, I want to add an image or a video or whatever. So something that I think is helpful to see is how to organize your pages as pages, and then how to make a module is what I was thinking of showing next. And that would reach a point where I could open the floor to what specific things people want to know. So as an instructor, I can click on pages, and it looks like it didn't do anything because it's still showing me the home page, but at the top here is a link that says view all pages. You click this, and this is like a file view of your Canvas course. You can see every single page in the course. You can see about the instructor, course resources. So as an instructor, if you're trying to find a page that you want to edit, this is a good view. It's also a good view because it shows you what's been published and what hasn't been. That came up a little earlier of when is it published, when is it not? Every single thing in Canvas has a little circle associated with it. And if it's got a gray slash, students can't see it. If it has a green check mark, students can see it. So that's the quick and easy way. If you're still working on something, you don't want students to see it, you uncheck so that you can work without them seeing. And then when you're ready, you check it so they can see it. And that's the first thing to check if you tell people, oh, go here for the assignment, and you get a bunch of emails saying, where is it? I don't see it. First thing to check is to make sure it's published. So I can look down this list at the pages that I've got. I can just click on one in order to go to it and edit it. Another tricky thing to know about is here next under this page, it says front page. You can have any one of these pages be your home page for your course. And if you wanted to make it really easy for your students, I recommend making a different home page for each week. Instead of just having week 1, week 2 and putting them in modules, you have week 1, week 2, week 3. You can put them in modules, but you can also come here and you can make a different page into the home page every week. So if you had, let's see, if I had a week one overview, if I wanted that to be the home page, so when students go into the course, they see that instead of the welcome, I can just click here and say use as front page. And then boop, students don't even have to look for week 6. They can just go straight here. And that is a much better than Moodle, which if you've ever been a student in Moodle, you have to keep scrolling to get to the latter part of the course unless the instructor is moving things up. And then to create a page, it says plus page. You click plus page, gives you an empty page. You can edit it, you can copy paste, you can put images on it, give it a name. And then once you've made it, you can insert it into the modules or make a link to it from somewhere. So we're going to pretend, for sake of speed, that I want, say, this technology resources, Canvas, Flip, and other tools. I've just made that. I want it available to students. I want to add it to a module. I can publish it. I can go into modules view now. And then the modules are in blocks. You can create modules. Let's say I want to create a module. I'm going to call it Student Resources. Add it. It always adds modules to the bottom. And then what I can do, once I've got a module, I can drag images. I can actually upload files here. I can add PDFs or images here. It'll make links to them. It'll upload them. I can also just click the plus sign and say I want to add a page. Scroll down to Technology Resources. Add item. And now that page has a link from this module. If I wanted these to be further up on the page, there's a very easy, I could drag it if I'm dexterous enough, but I can also move contents. Oh, not move content, sorry. I can move module and I can put it at the top or I can put it after the welcome module and then click move. And now it's moved that student resources module somewhere else. So it's very easy to move these links between modules. It's very easy to just grab entire modules and move them around to make this page be in the order you want it to be. Any questions about that very quick?
Yes. So when one creates a page, it automatically goes directly into that history of all the pages.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
which you accessed again. Could you quickly show me which you accessed from pages?
So as the instructor, I can click on pages.
Yeah.
It's got a I with a slash, so it's not visible to students.
All
And
right.
then it takes me to the home page, but I
View
can
all
click
pages.
view all
Yeah.
pages. Yes.
I just saw it. Okay,
I
thank you.
do have one instructor who's teaching an in-person course, and they didn't want to use modules. It was too much work. They wanted to just have students see the pages, and she actually hid the modules view over here I'm pointing over here in navigation. They hid this and they revealed this to the students.
Yeah, I'm also a person professor, but I'm keeping the modules.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm organizing them by week.
Yes. I think that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
One last, I'm looking at my list of the most important things I want to show people when I'm giving them a basic intro. One would be people. The other is syllabus. And grading might take more than 5 minutes to show grading. But if I'm going to show you, if you click people, mine will be boring because I'm not teaching anybody. So it only shows me. But if you are teaching a class and it's, an official registered through the registrar class, you will see all the students for the course in here. And you can sort and you can see what someone's been doing. You can offer advice. You can build groups. The neat thing about it is it'll load those students into this course as soon as you request the course, which you can start requesting Canvas courses as soon as students can start registering for them. So as students register for the course, you will see their names appear in here, but because it's unpublished, they can't get into it yet. But it means you have a sense of who's enrolled even well ahead of when the course starts.
Yes, I have all my students on, and there is also a very option to email them directly, which is great.
Yes. Yeah. I think Canvas does a little bit more than Moodle or Blackboard for helping get messages out of Canvas, unless a student comes in, clicks, don't send me notifications. And so it might be worth telling your students, check your settings.
Yeah, good point.
Make sure.
Yep. But how do you see, for example, I want to see if people have been watching the lectures I've uploaded. How do you see whether they've looked at certain pages or watched things?
That is because I don't have instructor access to a live course. Something I would have to show you on your course, but it is in here. There's multiple, in fact, I'm still getting a handle on it. There's multiple ways to see student activity. See if I can at least point you in the right direction. If you go to home, that is something. Thank you for asking that question, because I forgot to cover a couple of important things here on the homepage. As an instructor, there are tools here. And one of the tools to show you to experiment with is something called New Analytics, which is really just analytics. I don't know why they called it New Analytics, but when you click on New Analytics, this helpful panda will tell you how to use it. You can tell the panda to go away. It shows you things like the average course grade, the weekly online activity. For me, you'll see it's boring. There's nothing. But when you have students, you will see, and you can run reports like who is missing an assignment, who's turned in a late assignment, what's my class roster. You can hit run report and it'll download a CSV of everybody in the class. And then this course activity will show you who did what. And then
will it show us by or just by statistics?
I believe it will it's showing you up front, it shows you aggregated, but I believe these reports get down to the student level so that you can actually see what each student is doing. Again, I should teach a class so that I can show what really happens. But if someone here is an instructor and you want to do a deeper dive into this, we could get on Zoom, and I could show you on your own course. And of course, the people in Ideas and Instruct have a few years more experience than I do. I'm always happy to give it a shot, but they may know off the top of their heads how to do something.
Yes, I found one student who's accessed the course.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it a live? It's a live published course and they've accessed it?
It is, and I have all my students on it, and I found it under resources on the last page, on the very last page.
Oh,
I have one student who's accessed it.
okay. That's
Only
interesting.
one, because I told them I was going to learn this weekend.
And like, wonder what's going on there.
Yeah.
A couple more items over here just to mention in case you remember them for later is that if you do teach a course or someone is sharing a course with you, you've taught a course before, or someone else has taught a course before, and they want to give you a copy of your course, that course for you to use, or you want to copy a previous course, that's what this import existing content is for. You click on it, you click copy a course, and then you have to have access to the course. So usually it's either a course you've taught or you have to go through a process to have the other instructor give you access to their course. But once you do that, you can come in here and you can import the whole course or even just a piece of a course. So if you want to just grab a few pages or some files, it makes it really easy. Yeah.
Where did you find this import content from?
Yep.
Where did you find it?
It is right here. So you're at the home page of your course.
Back at the home page.
Yeah.
Right.
On the right side.
Import existing. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
There's also things like import commons, and here's another place you can choose homepage. So you can click here and make a different homepage. Course stream shows you what people are doing. There's new announcement, view the notifications, and those analytic buttons. So importing and analytics are probably the most important buttons there.
Import and analytics, yes. Okay.
Yep. And are there, with 5 minutes to go, I mean, there's so much more to talk about with Canvas, but I want to give a chance if someone's got questions.
I heard it was going to be paired with Turnitin. Is that happened, or is that just an institution thing, or what?
It can be paired with Turnitin.
Okay.
I believe that comes up when you are making an assignment. I'm going to do this without a net. When you create an assignment, you add the name of it, instructions how to do it, and down here, you have submission types, so number of points, what group it's in, how you want to display the grades. Do you want to do a file upload and tell it which kind to do, allowed attempts, group assignment, moderated. This is where it would be if they
under moderated grading.
Moderated grading is when you have students grading for you.
Oh, okay, no.
So you have helpers. I think it would say, I could do some research into that. So Turnitin. In Canvas, I could give a quick look and I could send something out to folks. I feel compelled, as someone who hosted something during the pandemic called Alternatives to Surveillance Pedagogies, that Turnitin can be problematic. It can do a lot of false flagging of students. It pretends to detect AI, but one of the things they've noticed is AI detectors. One of the studies, 98% of the things flagged as AIs were just people who learned another language before they learned English. So their patterns of language when they write doesn't match the patterns thought of by the white male programmers. So it says, it's AI, but it's really just someone who writes English differently. So caution with detection tools. They can offer a hint that something might be off, but they're not ironclad as far as this person did something bad.
Well, Turnitin actually removed the AI component
Oh, that's
last
lovely.
semester. Yeah, they had it for a while, and then
Yep.
when it became obvious that there were so many false positives,
Yep.
they removed it. So
that's
now
good to
it's back
hear.
using just plagiarism and similarity reports.
That's
Yeah.
good to know. Yeah. And with similar caveats, I submitted something that was mine and it told me it was plagiarized because someone else had submitted it as a test from another campus. So a little skepticism goes a long way. But yeah, that should be here and I can double check. Other final burning questions before I have a little wiggle room, Lamia, if there are folks who want to stay.
If nobody else has a question.
Mm-hmm.
For the quizzes, I mean,
yes.
Now that obviously they can use other external help when they're on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way the quiz guarantees? Is there a way of guaranteeing that everything else is frozen on their laptops? Or was the purpose of putting quizzes there? Was it like a just a tool to find out how much they know about something, or as a warm-up activity? Because otherwise you can't guarantee that they're not going to get help from AI on another window.
Right. Some advice, I mean, this goes back to when we first started doing quizzes on computers, back in the 90s. Some advice around quizzing on when you're not in the room with the students on computers is consider it open book. Ask a question that doesn't have a Googleable answer. We've been doing that since 2000, whenever, when Google came out, or 96. I prefer using, instead of right wrong answers in quizzes, doing more of a survey where you're just asking them. That depends on size of class. There are tools that will lock up a computer so that they can't use the browser, but what also happens with those is students who are less tech savvy, students who have different computer setups will end up, sometimes we've had those tools cause problems on those computers.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So if you want, we could set up a longer meeting about how to write questions for online courses, because there are strategies to make it work.
Yeah.
All right. I will stop sharing.
There is a problem with my Zoom today. It might be needs somehow like updating because there is a problem with my video.
Oh no.
So I'm sorry about this, but actually, on behalf of everyone, like the members of Cafe Without Borders, here we are all like saying thank you so much for today's very resourceful and comprehensive session. So to see it today, actually myself from the eye view of professors, it was very beneficial to see how it differs in terms of the two views and to understand why when we assigned any kind of assignments, why we keep sometimes searching and we cannot find them. So that's also why this is the view. That's all, the eye. So yeah, thank you so much. As always, Fred, you are all the time when explaining anything, especially in terms of digital resources. You are the best always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you
for your time.
Yeah, thank you for accepting this kind of invitation to be our guest speaker today. And we came to the end of our session. And if anyone have any question, we have our like we have Fred can reply or take any questions. If not, we can just leave and end our session for today. Waiting for any kind of suggestions for future sessions, anyone on any recommendations, as we do every month, creating pools and figuring out what members they are looking forward like to having or joining for which purposes. Thank you so much again, Fred, and looking over and hoping the best for everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, Lamia, for organizing this.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for joining.
Thank
you. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doke. I am